Hey friends, welcome back. Gabriel Kevin here, and another installment of my music tutorials that cover everything from mixing to producing to recording and all kinds of stuff. And I use Studio One as my DAW, DAW, digital audio workstation. And a lot of the things that I do in most of my tutorials is I'll talk about the concept of things, like the concept of mastering, and then I'll show the application of that. And when I show that, it's in Studio One, but most of those concepts apply to any DAW like Pro Tools, etc. So a lot of these tutorials that you'll see, even if you don't use Studio One, could be beneficial to you if you listen through and I didn't know about that, or you want to add your comments and we'll help each other out. So today we're going to talk about some of the main plugins that I use in my songs. So I have 5 songs out there on Spotify and Pandora and also on my channel. And this one is called Wonderland, and it's my tutorial version, so I'm not messing up my song. And there are 2 plugins that I want to discuss, and both of them are from a company called Toontrack. I believe it's toontrack.com. And if you check it out, it's really cool. They have a whole library of this stuff. So the first one is EZDrummer, and the second one is EZKeys. Now they also have EZBass and EZMix. I don't use EZBass because I tend to play my own bass lines, but I have it. I'm going to check it out because there's always ideas out there that you might not know, so it's cool. But the cool thing about these plugins from Toontrack is they are actual performances. These are actual drummers that play the actual kits that you see, and they were done in various studios with various mics and the various compression and stuff like that. So these are performances, and they've been segmented, and you can actually drag and drop a fill-in for drums. You can add something with a verse, and you can test them all, and it's very cool, and we're going to look at that in a minute. So this tutorial is going to cover EZDrummer and EZKeys, and this is my song Wonderland. So these are MIDI tracks, and that's why I have it here in an instrument track in Studio One, and an instrument track in Studio One is a MIDI track. So if I click here on this drums track that I created, I click this icon, it is going to bring up EZDrummer that's on this track. Now, can you have multiple EZDrummers? Yes, I have one here and I have one here, because this one here is doing something different somewhere else in the song. So here's the dialog box for EZDrummer. Now, there's a ton of stuff in here, so I'm just going to go through the basics. But if you go to Toontrack, they have a lot more tutorials and stuff there that are really good. And you can also test out all the samples of all the different things. So you can say, hey, I want this drum kit. And there'll be a Latin drum kit, a rock drum kit, etc. And there's different performances. So it's all kinds of a wide range of things that you can choose from and build into your library, which I'll show you. And so I bought the main EZDrummer. I use EZDrummer 2, not EZDrummer 3. I may upgrade to EZDrummer 3, but EZDrummer 2 is really cool, and that's what you're seeing here. And I added and added and added different things to it, and it all comes into this one dialog. So as you add things, it'll all be here. Okay, let's start with this really quick here. If we go to the drum tab, it'll show the drum kit. That's pretty cool. If you go to the browser, it is where all the different things that you have purchase and put in here that you can then choose from and drag and drop into your song. Now down here is where the performance is. Now, next thing is we want to search for something. There's a search thing. And then the last one, which I really like, is the mixer. So here we have the actual mixer of the drums. Now when you change kits and you want to use, say, a Latin kick, this will change. It'll have, a lot of times it'll change. It'll change, whether it's cymbals, some will say overhead. It's based on what the kit is. Okay, and each one will have a different thing down here and have EQ and reverb on this one. And some will have compression. And what they did was they actually preset a lot of this stuff and a lot of the EQ and reverb to be of that style of that kit. But then you can also change it. And again, it's live performances. So what happens is, since it's live, if you ever record live drums, which I have done, if you listen to Yellow Butterfly, those are live drums. The other songs are EZDrummer. So you can actually compare in my own song and my own mastered versions of them, the difference between them, and it's pretty hard to tell the difference that EZDrummer is not synthesized drums. It's real drums. And that's what's so cool about Toontrack. So If you record live drums, you know when the drummer's hitting, you have microphones all over the place, you're going to pick up the snare mic, it's going to pick up the snare, and it's going to pick up the bleed of all the other drums. The bleed is that mic is live. So, depending on how you position it, it'll always pick up most of the snare, and when the drummer hits a tom over here, it's going to pick a little bit of that up, and it's the bleed. In EZDrummer, they have the bleed. The drums aren't completely isolated. So if you hit one, if the drummer hits one thing, it's going to pick up all the other mics are going to pick it up a little bit, and that's the beauty of it, because that makes it really have that feel of a live drummer playing a live drum kit that you actually recorded the whole kit. Here you can change all the faders on them. You can change the panning. Okay, you can change the output. Output 1 would be they're all going to the same output, which is what you would normally do, and it's a stereo output. But in certain situations, I think in my song Another Day, I actually wanted the snare to be separate because I wanted to manage it, and I want to put automation on the snare, because you can't put automation here. So I can drop down the snare guy and say, put it to output 2. And then it would go to output 2, and it would come out of this track, and I'd have to create an automation track and grab that snare from the list of automation, and then I can manage that snare's volume, pan, everything separately. And that's kind of cool, because like sometimes, you have a rim shot hit in a verse, and you have a hard hit, full hit snare in a chorus, and sometimes those volumes, the rim shot's down here, and this one's up here, and if you change the overall volume here, they're both going to go up. So you can send different drums out to different outputs, and then grab that, put it on another track, and then I can manage that rim shot hit based on automation. When it comes to the verse, I raise it and I lower that snare back to normal during the chorus, and then I can manage it between choruses and verses or whatever you want to do. So it's cool that you can actually change the outputs of these. Okay. Now, if we go back to the drums, this is the drum kit that I picked for this song. What's really cool is when you're picking drum kits, you can actually solo them. Very cool, huh? Okay, then you can also drop down these things, and you can change the initial snare that they gave you for this kit, and you can pick other ones. So here are all these different ones, and this says Pearl Vinnie Paul Signature, and I can change it to Gretsch USA Custom whatever, and it will change that snare, and the sound will change. Same with the cymbals. Every one of these have a little drop down. So you can modify the initial settings and the style of drum that this kit is. That's just cool, because you have a drummer come in with a live kit, you're stuck with that live kit. Here you can change it, and I can just change one tom, or just like the snare or the kick. Well, I don't like that kick. I want to drop this down, and I want to do this kit. And every time you click on it, it'll play it, so you can hear it. And even after you have your performances done, you could actually change the drum. This is like really cool, and it's also in the stereo spectrum. So if you hear this, if you have headphones on, that's to the right, that's to the left, as you see in the picture. Very cool stuff. Okay, cool. How many times can I say cool? The other thing that happens is over here, depending on the kit, I keep saying kick, the kit you pick, it'll have like tambourine, shaker. Okay, and I can change the tambourine. So there's two here. There's this one and this one. Sorry, didn't click it. Isn't that cool? You can change the volume of that tambourine. You can change the pitch of it, and you can do all kinds of stuff. And same with the shaker. So you get these extra stuff, and I've used it. If you listen to Wonderland and you listen to the verse, and I think also in the chorus, you'll hear a tambourine to the right. It's EZDrummer tambourine. And you tell me if that doesn't sound like a real tambourine, because it is a real tambourine. It's actually somebody playing it. Okay, so now where do we go from here? Okay, oh, and one more thing. When you put these performances in, and you go to browser and you pick one. So if I come here and I say, and these are the ones I got. So you get the certain EZDrummer ones, and then I added this stuff in. So let's just say I want to go to a basic jazz, and I want, let's say, well, jazz is all swing. So let's say basic rock. I can have straight time, swing time, straight, 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 4/4 time, etc. And it changes for each one of these. Okay, and it's saying, you know, who played it. And I say I hit ballad straight. It's going to give me now their interpretation of what an intro, verse, pre-chorus, choruses, bridge, and fills. So let's just say we'll pick a verse. Now all these variations come up. So I can hit play. And you can take that and you can drag that into your timeline, where I want this one. And let's just say I want to go to fills. And see these little orange ones here? I added fills in there. So it comes in, it plays, and when it hits that fill, it's actually a fill. And we're going to do that. So if I go to fills, look at all these variations. Now it's repeating itself. And that's just a fill. And that's a fill from, say, a verse to a chorus. Okay, cool. Tons of stuff here you can browse for. Now, we talked about the drum kit. So here you would pick your drum kit. So I'm using EZDrummer Modern 2. There's all variations of that. There's so much here. It's awesome. It's so much to play with and figure out what kind of drums you want. Okay, let's close that up, and there's a menu here. You can actually export it and stuff like that to actually MIDI notes, so the track becomes MIDI notes instead. I don't do that. I just stay within this dialogue. Now down here is the performances that I dragged and dropped down here to play in the song. And now you can cut these things, so you can have a cutting tool. So if I want to split, see, I can split this wherever I want and change this part of it if I want. I can also highlight it and copy it. So I can right click and copy it. I can remove it, etc. I can get rid of some things or add, insert stuff. So the other thing you can do here is a little button here that's follow host. So what that'll do is when you play the song, it'll put the cursor here wherever the cursor is in the song, and it will follow the host. Now I'm going to take this follow host off. Okay, and the other thing it does is it automatically follows the tempo. So if I change the tempo down here in Studio One to 135, it'll automatically change this. Say that I change that to 137, it'll change this to 137, and same with the time signature. You can actually also, on top of these performances, let's say we go back to the drum, and I could actually put my cursor here, okay, and I could actually hit this record button, and as it's playing over this already preset, I can like say, I want another simple crash. And it'll record that on top of it. So cool. Okay, so let's just play this drum kit down here with the follow the host off. So I put the cursor here and it'll go into this roll, and let's see. And you can see it's showing you what's playing. And there's another fill here. Really cool. So you can just build whatever you want. And it's almost like bringing in another drummer into your studio and say, do this. Now, here's the thing. You have a drummer, you did a whole track, they left and everything, and you wanted to add a different fill. You'd have to have the drummer come back and do all that stuff. Here, you just drag and drop the stuff, and it's real drums. And the other cool thing about this, and this is one thing I really, really like, you can add all kinds of stuff here and try to put more recordings on top of things and everything. And the one thing this thing will do, it will stay human. What? It'll stay human. It will not play more than a human being can play. And that's so cool. So you can't like have a billion things happening on top that you would actually need 5 people to play it. It doesn't do that. It will exclude certain things and only play what a real drummer could do. Now, why you want to add that many drums to it, I don't know. I would tend to, you know, you listen to this. There's a lot of stuff going on. And you can hear the tambourine. And then the fill. So it's cool. So it makes it so it has to be like a real human being. And I really think that's great stuff. So, and then here's overall volume here. And you know, I always put follow host on because that's, you know, you want to do that. So you can add, change, delete. You can zoom in to your stuff. You can zoom out. Okay. There are undos here. If you made some changes, you want to undo them. So you can manage within here. And then it plays it within the total mix of your song based by follow the host, and it keeps the same time signature and tempo. Really cool stuff. Okay, that's EZDrummer. I highly recommend. I love it. I actually love it. And I like doing live drums too. It depends on what I want to do, but this really saves a lot of time, and it's so versatile, and you can switch between kits and really test out what you want. And again, go to Toontrack.com and it'll explain everything. I don't have stock in the company. I wish I did actually, but go there and check it out, and it'll explain everything. And the guy there is really cool. He's really cool. I forget his name, Rich or something, but he's really cool. So go there and it'll explain all about the the human and all that junk. Okay, let's get out of that. I'm gonna close it. And up here I call piano main. Okay, now this bass track here is live. How do I know? Because there's a waveform, and that's me playing bass. But here, piano main, let's click on this one. Now this is the Toontrack EZKeys. Cool. Okay, well there we have a piano. That's kind of cool. It says upright piano, and it says 80s chorus. So what's cool here, first thing, you have your timeline here, and you drag and drop your stuff into this, okay? And here you have, and it depends on the piano, or it depends on the keyboard, and I use a Melotron in some songs. They have a Melotron, yes. A Melotron, if you don't know what that is, look that up. Think about Rick Wakeman from Yes. Melotron, organs, different kinds of piano, concert pianos, string ensembles, all kinds of stuff. So, and I'll drop down the stuff and show you the stuff that I have put in here. So you have an overall volume. Again, you have the follow the host, you have the tempo and everything. Now, since it's not drums, you have different keys. So, so this is in the key of C major, so you can set that. You also have your record on top of it, you can do, and your transport here. Then you have other things. It depends on the different keyboard that you pick. It'll set it to where they wanted to set it. They thought it was most appropriate, but you can change it. So if you want to add more reverb to your piano, you can. If you want to add more chorus, you want to change the tone of it, you want to compress it more. Very cool stuff. The other thing you can do when you select a piano or a keyboard, you can play it. Does that sound real or what? Because it is real. Then you can actually hold down the pedal and hold up the pedal. So if I hold down the pedal, you can slide. So why would you do that? Because you can record on top of the play. So if you drag something in and you want to go, okay, right between here and here, I want to go, you can. And if you want to do that with the sustain pedal down, you can. Really cool. There's dynamics. So there's different things you can do here. Make the note softer or whatever. You can close that up. And then over here is your tuning. So you can change an octave. So I can change the whole keyboard an octave, which is really cool. I just think it's awesome stuff. So let's play this. I'll take the follow host off. And one thing you have to do is when you bring a performance in, you have to be able to say, what your scale is, what your key is. What chord are you playing here? I'm playing an E, I'm playing a B, I'm playing an E. So you kind of have to know that. Okay, you have to know, your chords that are in your song, and therefore then you assign them down here. Now, how do you change them? Well, if you right click on it, or I'm sorry, if you right click on it and play it, if you left click on it, wow, what's that? It's cool. So basically, I could take this and it's an E, okay, and it's showing me here it's an E, but I can make it an A. I can make it a B minor. I can make that chord anything I want it to be, and any variation of it, and that's cool. And that's how you assign the actual chord to the piano play, and then the piano will play it. Okay, then this performance here is on top of that. So you add the chord that is being played at. So if you just have a verse and you create the verse and you put your chords in, you don't have to do it again. You can just copy this. You right click, you copy it down the line to the next verse. So you build your verse, you build your chorus, then you can copy verse and chorus again. You don't have to redo it, which is cool. And this is your performance here of that. And again, you can record on top of it. So I took this off. So let's put the cursor here, the beginning of this, and let's play this. that cool? I'm sorry. I'm very easily thrilled. Okay, cool. So another thing, let me see, is you can change octaves and stuff like that here. I'm sorry, over here, etc. So check it out. There's so much information about this. I wanted to give a quick idea of the types of things you can do. So when you purchase different things, you get different pianos. So I got all these guys. So I have Cinematic Grand, Dream Machine. Okay, let's look at Cinematic Grand. It's going to take a second, and what it's going to do is it's going to change the actual keyboard that's being used. It's the same performance, it's the same chords, it's just as if you took your keyboard, your piano, and you had movers come in, they took it out, they brought in another keyboard, and you're trying that one out. So let's see what else we got. Okay, Dream Machine. This is pretty cool. Dream Machine. What does that sound like? So again, same performance, same chords. And we'll try. And then within Dream Machine, I have all these things. Within Cinematic Grand, whoops, I have to wait for it to change. I have all these things. It's endless. It's literally endless. Melotron. They call it Melotron because I'm assuming that Melotron is a copyrighted name. This looks just like a Melotron. I don't know if you know about the original Melotrons. It actually was a tape. Now we are not back, in the yes days of Rick Wakeman and folks that used Melotrons. Okay, there was no digital stuff. I mean, there was some digital stuff, but a lot of things was very physical. So with a Melotron, in order to get that you hold the note down and it keeps playing, right? It just keeps playing, and this will just keep playing because that's the way they made it for this purpose. But the real Melotron, when you play that A, it will go so far because there was a tape. A tape, like a tape with a head, and the tape would run. So there were all these tapes in there for every one of the keys, and the tape would run through the head like a tape recorder playback, and it would end. So when you played the Melotron, you had to be conscious of the fact that if you held it too long, you would know a certain time that the tape's going to end, and it's going to, I didn't think of recycle, and you'd have to pick up your hands and hit it again. So anyway, that doesn't happen here, but I believe that's true. You can put it in the comments. If I remember correctly, that's how it works. So now if I play this one, very cool stuff. You can cut things here like you can do in EZDrummer. You can do undos. You can come into, you can move across the timeline or use the cursor. You can hit expand, contract, etc., etc., and it's very cool stuff. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back to upright. And it doesn't matter because this is a tutorial version of my song. And the other thing it does, when you hit the notes, it shows the note up here. Now, if you know piano and stuff like that, you probably don't need that. But, if you know these keys already. So, anyway. So if you had single notes playing, I believe that this will show here. So, there you have it. That's EZDrummer and EZKeys. I found this by accident, I think, and I just fell in love with it because it's real play and it's real people playing, and the drums and the piano, and it's really these types of pianos and stuff like that. You can tell how real it is just by hearing it. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. These are two major plugins, MIDI plugins. I do have a MIDI controller here on my desk. It's a nice, AKA. Akai, aka, I moved something also was AKA. It's an Akai MIDI controller, and I can use that with all kinds of MIDI plugins. And I do play keyboards, I play guitar, I play bass. But when I found this, there was so much variety and so much different types of real types of pianos, real types of drums, and real play that I was just like, wow, this is just really, really cool. So check it out. Check out toontrack.com and check out EZKeys, EZDrums. If you don't play bass, but you play keyboards and you want to add bass, definitely check out EZBass. I have it. I still have to check it out on my new songs because it might give me new ideas that would be cool for the type of song it is. And it's the same thing. It has all these performances, and you can pick, rock, Latin, jazz, whatever, and it's cool. So hopefully this helps. If you like this, please hit like. Please share it with folks that you're like. Somebody's like, I have to find a keyboard player. I have to find, it's not easy to find keyboard players, and keyboard players that can play every different style. And if you know somebody or yourself that, hey, I need keyboards on my song, but I don't know any keyboard players, and I don't want to pay for somebody, that I don't even know, get EZKeys. It makes it easy. Ah, that was so bad. Sorry. And if you don't have a drummer, get EZDrummer. You don't have to worry about hitting the drums yourself on a controller, and you can always add stuff on top of it. Okay, so, and if you like this and you want to hear more stuff from me, I have other tutorials out there, and I'm always putting out new content, and I have my Radical Cathedral kind of reality about life show with new episodes all the time, and I do talk about how I wrote a novel, which is out there on Amazon. If you take my name and you look on Amazon.com, you'll see my novel. You'll see my book of poetry, how you write poetry, and all kinds of stuff. And I also have a thing out here, how do you do a Philadelphia cheesesteak? Because I'm from Philly. So I did a video on that. So I have all kinds of content coming out. So please, if you like this stuff, please subscribe. You'll know when new stuff is coming out, and you'll know, not just music stuff, but all kinds of other stuff, especially in my show, which is kind of cool. And please add your comments here and in any of my other videos and tutorials, and please, I just ask, be civil, and just add what you use. You might use something different than EZKeys or stuff like that, or you do something different. Add it to the comments. Let's help each other. And at that point, I think that we're good. So please subscribe, please like, and please share. And have an awesome, great day. Thanks. Bye.